risk management, and I have a question there because I have a question mark there because you may ask, do you really believe risk management can be used for motivating people? I believe it can, and that's why it is here on this presentation. Before we go into that, project risk management is a key project success tool, yet very, very few project managers use it. They may not have the training. Even some of them who use it do it, the term we use, naam ke vaste, just for the sake of ticking off a box in a project audit. They don't use it in a practical way that would really bring results. One reason could be they lack the training that is required in risk management. They may lack the time. That is usually the case. And once again, they lack the resources to do it. After all, how many things is a project manager supposed to do? As such, we are asked to deliver more scope at a lesser budget in lesser and lesser time with fewer and fewer people. And ultimately, something has to break, right? Now, how can we use risk management as a motivational tool? As a project manager, we said you have little time. One of the things that you do, many people do, at the start, you identify the various risks that could be in a project. You work out and find out what are the biggest risks, what are the ones that have probably a high probability or a high impact or a combination of that. You find the biggest risks in your project. You find out what you would do when that risk actually happens in your project. And when a risk actually occurs, rather than run into a war room and look at what needs to be done, you're actually in a situation where you tell management or the customer, you know what, we thought that this risk would occur. We already have a plan for it. Just give us half an hour and we'll come back to you with a good solution. So you're coming up with something where you thought about it with a clear mind rather than in a panic mode. Think of a fire alarm going off in an unfamiliar place. You wouldn't know the exit route, you wouldn't know where to assemble, and you're not thinking clearly. Now, risk management allows you to do that. But many times what happens is once risk management is carried out, there is no follow-up. If there is no follow-up, once again, all the hard work done in the beginning comes to naught. So what happens here, there is a recommendation that you actually assign risk owners. You have people who will look at early warning signs for a risk. If the risk does occur, they will monitor it. If risk does occur, they notify the appropriate people. Now, remember, the people in your team, the enthusiastic people we saw in the critical path method who want to do more but are assigned to tasks which they feel is not important. Probably this is a situation where they're not working on critical path activities. They can't be given the training to work on critical path activities. Now, in this situation, we have another trick up our sleeve, another ace. Now, if there are 25 risks you're monitoring, get 5 or 6 of those project team members and make them the risk owners. Educate them about those risks, tell them these are the early warning signs. Now, you're going to be doing an important work on this project. You're going to be the risk owner. Give them a little platform. Many project meetings actually have a 5-minute or a 10-minute window at the end where project risks are discussed. So in those situations, by rotation, every 5th project meeting, you will talk about the status of your risks, whether new risks might have come up, and you let them speak on those risks. Obviously, these people feel important. They feel grateful. They feel that you have actually held their interest in mind, and you're talking about giving them more visibility, and that really, really helps. And when they're feeling empowered, what is the result? What happens when people feel empowered? They certainly perform better. That brings us to the end of building block 3. Let's go 4. It's raining 4s and 6s in the IPL, and this is Billy Borden, who has a very unique way of signaling 4. So we go on to the 4th technique we were talking about, and this need not necessarily be a specific project management technique. Before we get to that, what do people really crave? I once read a book by the famous author Dale Carnegie, and he said people can go without food and water for days, but they cannot go without appreciation. And this is once again something that you can look up on YouTube. I avoided the video because streaming becomes a problem on a webinar. It starts like this: the secrets to maintaining employee motivation. It is not today just a pay raise. People are motivated by far more than just pay raises. And no, it is not a gym membership with a nice card attached to it. It may not even be a fancy job title, not even a company car. So what is it? And this is what I saw there. Simple acts that genuinely and sincerely recognize individuals for their effort and contribution to the company. These are a surefire way of motivating employees. Many times we are so busy, we are so frazzled, we are so busy fighting fires that we are unable to give employees or project team members the pat on the back, the appreciation of something they did extra, and we are missing out on a very, very good way of motivation in that sense. So you've heard of this term, justice delayed is justice denied, and that doesn't purely apply only to justice. It also applies to appreciation and motivation. If motivation is not given quickly enough, the moment passes and the employee thinks, okay, what is the point in my doing anything extra? You can't expect everybody to be self-motivated. They said, I did this extra thing, I didn't get any appreciation, so why should I go out of my way to do extra things? And once again, we have this habit of appreciating only big achievements. We have employee of the month, we have star employee of the quarter, or project member of the month, and all that. But by the time those things come around, the person may not be on the project at all. They might have moved on. They might have moved to a different company. So it's not as if only the big achievements deserve appreciation. And like in the beginning, we spoke about people coming in from different cultures, different countries, different languages, different generations. And what motivates me may not motivate someone else. It is up to the project manager to find the interests of people and try to make a conscious effort to find out what really makes different people click. So what is the practical application of what I was talking about here? And when is appreciation most appreciated? Today we live in a very impatient world. That's why few people go to test matches, fewer probably a little higher to one-day matches, and you see the crowds at 2020 matches, right? Everything today is instant. You have instant coffee, you have instant noodles, so 2 minutes, whether it's an instant and how long does it really take is a question mark. Banks, companies talk about instant loans, gold loans in 3 minutes and all that kind of stuff. And you even have instant weight loss, if only that could really be true. But how do we use this? We try to bring in a situation where the rewards can be instant. What are the things we can do? Appreciation can be given for any act beyond the normal course of duty. It could even be somebody in your team who found out it is another team member's birthday and arranged for a card and cake. It may not be something project specific. On the other hand, somebody might have stayed back late preparing data for an important presentation of the boss. Appreciation needs to be given immediately. You can come up with an innovative program. Shortly I will talk about one such program. Keep the rules of the program simple. That's very important. If you have a very complicated point system and all that, it may not really work. Now here is a sample motivation program I've actually used in some of my projects. This is based on the fish philosophy, based on a very famous fish market in Seattle. When you get the time, you can go and search for fish philosophy or fish video on YouTube, and you'll find very interesting video. It talks about employees having fun, employees being motivated, and it has come up with an entire philosophy called the FISH philosophy, upon which several books are available. For example, these are FISH cards. Now, as a project manager, you may be concerned, how much budget do I have? We already said we have reduced budgets. Now, printing some of these cards, designing some of these cards is hardly going to cost you a couple of thousand rupees. You can probably print them for 40, 50 paise, maximum 75 paise a card. These are handed out liberally across levels. So it is not just a boss handing it over to a subordinate or project manager handing it over to people working on the project. An employee could hand it over to his boss. Somebody could hand it over to their colleague. Bosses could hand over to other people. It's even something that you can hand over to a customer. So you have these cards printed out. You have them available with admins in your team where people can pick them up. These cards on the back have some fields that you can write out. There is a to, there is a from. Who is it that handed it out? Whom was given to? And this is one way you can also bring in a company's values. For example, company could have values like innovation, teamwork, leadership, performance, respect for people, integrity, and so on. Now, those could be ticked. What is it that the recipient did to deserve that award? And there is a date put in on it. There's a short space where you can actually write out a very short sentence or two. And you have fish balls placed with the admin. Now, we're not talking obviously about fish balls with water in them and fish swimming around. They're actually empty fish balls where these cards are dropped in at the end of a month. Now, you can do it your own way. This is just an example of the program I was talking about. There is recognition for the winner of the most cards in a month. The admin, somebody on the project, picks out all the cards at the end of the month, puts them into a simple Excel sheet, and a sort tells you who is the person who got the most number of cards a month. They get a prize. Now, rather than keep it to one individual, you can call the team together, have somebody pick out 4 or 5 additional cards at random, and those people also get small prizes. Now, the prize could be very small. It could be a 500 rupee landmark voucher, a book voucher. It could be a voucher to a pizza restaurant. It could be anything. And here is where I spoke about finding out what really drives people. There could be situations where somebody is a cricket fan. You could actually get him a 1,000 rupee ticket to an IPL match. Or there could be somebody who's a fitness freak, and you get them something that is in their line of view, and that really, really helps. Now, the cards are returned to people as keepsakes. I still have many of the cards I earned from my director and my peers 10, 12 years back. Sometimes I've even taken them to interviews because this is proof of the appreciation I received for something important. Now, the one thing that happens is the cards get punched when they are given back to people. That is to make sure some people don't creatively put those same cards back into the balls to get another chance at the draw. And these results are circulated by email to people. So what does all this contribute to? That was our 4th building block. I am very, very confident that these building blocks together can contribute in a large way to better motivating people and success. So the question is, what can I do starting tomorrow? These are some of the pointers I said. The usual methods don't work. You have to get creative. You have to be innovative. You have to find out what really works for your team. Once again, don't try something very big. It's always good to start small. Start with small things that you can do. Those could give you quick wins, or you'll need to adjust the techniques if they no longer work, and assimilate some of these quick wins, build on that confidence, and get more complex tools. So I think we're right at the 45th minute. To sum up, we looked at some of the unique challenges. We looked at the importance of motivation. We looked at some of the unique challenges in motivating people in the project environment. We just spoke about the need to be creative. we spoke about four creative techniques, project management techniques. These are proven. I have actually used many of them. We initially looked at the critical path as a motivation tool. We looked at the WBS. We looked at using risk ownership as a motivational tool. And we looked at an instant reward program that you can devise on your own. We looked at pointers to develop your own tools. Now my question is, did we check all the boxes we said we would cover in the beginning? And this graphic seems to tell us there is one box left unchecked. And what was it? That was WIIFM, right? And what does WIIFM stand for? It's what's in it for me. You're going to ask, okay, all of these look good. What's in it for me? How does it help me from tomorrow? And partially one of the answers is that these are four simple actionable tools. Probably the cards thing is something that will take you a little bit of time to think about, but all these other things we spoke about are stuff that you can use tomorrow. So as you start using these tools, your confidence grows. Team members are more motivated. They feel this is a leader who is creative, who spends the time to motivate people. Ultimately, project success rate grows. Most importantly, you grow in your organization. So that brings me to around the 45 minutes we spoke about. So we are now ready to take questions.